Hello there, folks.
Hi there.
Yeah. See, it's another episode of Würfelcast. It's been a while.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Uh,
It's
we've
been
been away.
forever.
Yeah, it's been forever.
We've been away?
For the Würfelcast, both of us, yes.
I see. Yes. We both have not done this.
Yes. But I've been away, and that's why I'm sorry we couldn't record any episodes earlier. But here we are. We're back now,
Here we are.
back on schedule, doing those episodes again. And
Hurrah.
today's topic of the day is top 5 board game publishers. I want to
Woohoo!
emphasize not just publishers. The many categories you can have publishers in. Just to be sure.
That's true. I did not use my top 5 book publishing houses, though.
Yeah.
You'll be pleased to find that not even one book publisher is on my list. Although I could quickly reorganize it if you'd like me to.
That's fine. We don't need to. Anyway, here we are with some fresh stuff, fresher games to talk about, and some crowdfunding, some suggestions from Kyle. But let's start
Yes.
with the first topic of today, which is recent plays. And so, Kyle, why don't you tell me about at least one game,
At least
just
one?
one game, yeah, or just one
Okay.
game you've been playing recently that you maybe liked, maybe didn't like.
All right,
Anyway,
I will tell you about just one game, and that game is a game called Arcase. That is spelled Arkeis.
yeah, you know that one.
You know this one. Have you been playing it? I don't know.
No, I've heard about this one.
So
All
this
the
one,
French designers, yeah.
yes, it's by all the French designers, and
Ever,
it comes in an enormous box. And what you can kind of see in that picture is that it was, well, so the game is a dungeon crawl style game in an Egyptian pyramid or in and around one, or some other kind of tomb or ancient Egyptian type building. And you're
yeah.
going in and exploring, and there are various monsters. Some of them are sort of mechanical beasts, some of them are people that are, zealots and mummies and stuff, and some are some combination of the two.
So it's
And
not
you're
like
going through.
mythology, and it's like futuristic. It's steampunk.
It's, I guess, something like that. It's not. You're not going in and fighting the spirit of King Tut, but it's there's sort of the mummies and things you'll expect. I haven't made it all the way through the story yet. I've played several of the scenarios, though. I think
Mhm.
7 of them.
Yeah.
Which I guess is enough to talk about it. So the game itself has a couple of interesting features. And the first is that it is very simple. Everything is very straightforward rules wise. In fact, if you start reading the rule book, it says, don't bother with me, just go play through the tutorial scenario and you'll learn everything you need to know. And that's true. The rules is more of a reference at that point. On your turn, you have 2 actions, and those actions can be moving one space, fighting something, or interacting with something in the game. When you fight something, it's just rolling dice and seeing what you get. And each enemy has a little chart that says, okay, this does 1 damage, this does 2, whatever. When you're going to interact with something, there's several stacks of cards. And a while ago on a picture, there was a door with a little token in it. And that little token is, for example, if you're interacting with the door, you'll look and see what the little token is. And maybe it's a jackal head, or maybe it's a hawk or something. Whatever the symbol is, you'll then go to the stack of cards that has the matching color, find that card, turn it over, and see what happens with the door. Sometimes it's the door opens and nothing happens. Sometimes it's set up a new room behind this door and fill it with monsters. Sometimes it's, this door is locked, please come back later when you have the following item. And so, it's very easy to play and sort of see what happens. this sort of deck of doors thing has the advantage of letting the game surprise you a bit. I mean, at least the first time you play through it. It has the disadvantage, though, of it's not just the doors. There's these interaction tokens all around the board. It can feel a little bit random if you only have 2 actions per turn, and it means it's going to take forever to get across the map. And so if you find that you chose the wrong direction at the beginning, it can take a little while for you to get back into things, and that can be a little unfortunate. So it can feel a little random. With sort of it's not like you're given a bunch of clues that says, all right, go to snake doors first, or interact with hawk things second, or look at the art and this looks like a trap, so don't go there. It can be just sort of, hey, this is the story we're having. As long as you're able to, as long as you understand that, the game can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. One thing I don't enjoy is that it takes up a lot of space, but because sometimes the doors and things will surprise you when you open them or interact with them, the space can kind of get out of control fairly quickly because you won't know where to put this set of things, and so you might have to end up sliding stuff around if you run out of room on your table, just the way that the board is going to grow. That's a little bit unfortunate. But I've enjoyed the stories. I found all the scenarios to be different enough that I'm the game is still surprising me a little bit, and I enjoy that. I'm not going to find this to be a very strategic game. It's more of a just play through and see what happens. But it's been good so far.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I've been looking this one. Yeah, that's what I would expect, or that's what I would like in those types of games, dungeon crawl games, etc. I just want to dive in, see what happens, react to stuff, look for the story elements. That sounds like something I would definitely try and maybe enjoy, because I also love Egyptian theme. I saw one miniature that was very much like from the the second Hellboy movie, I think, like
Okay.
mechanical, like this robot or something like that.
Yeah, there is one robot. I haven't come across it yet in my place, but there is some sort of mechanical golem.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
looks exactly like something from Hellboy. It's like probably they mixed and matched all the different IPs and then stuff to kind of have this weird mixture of you know it looks a bit like Arkham Horror thing, and then Egyptian theme on top, and then steampunk on top. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
and the problem. I mean, I mean, I can understand where the Arkham Horror comparison comes from, but this game is much simpler and faster than Arkham Horror. It's and so that
Nice.
whether for its positive or negative, it's just a different kind of experience than a game like that. But thematically, yeah, you're going through some sort of a pulpy old dungeon, and there you have it.
Got it. All right. For mine is game I played a few times. Yeah, the one that I was interested in because of the IP, and
Uh
in
oh.
parallel, the new season of the series came out, and it was in 2 parts, and then the second part just came out, so I watched it. Um, that's from the Witcher IP, and it's called Witcher Old World.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I do have the Skellig expansion as well. So I didn't back it. I just bought it recently from from the local game shop. Let me see if I can find any pictures. But yeah, let me see here. Maybe just a bit here. You can see some. You can. These are painted minis. But anyway, so oh, this is the mat. Okay, this is the deluxe edition, something like that, with the miniatures and stuff. So I have the retail edition, normal one with monsters being tokens, and the minis are basically just chips and the from the Skellig expansion and the Witchers themselves. So anyway, this game is, I would say, a story-driven deck building, kinda. It's a story-driven game in a sense. So in this game, you are just moving around this map, and you are going to different places, activating them, increasing your skills, so you can do better in combat or in alchemy, like drinking potions during the fight. You're basically preparing yourself for fights with monsters or with other witchers. So this is a competitive game. You can have a cooperative experience if you have this expansion, I think Wild Hunt, something like that, which isn't out in retail, but it was on Kickstarter. Anyway, so you are moving around, getting new cards and things, and then you have this other phase where you are, if you're in a city or somewhere in a location, you can just say, "I'm going to go explore," and this is very random. This is not tied to a particular city or location. You just say, "I'm going to explore. I'm going to explore the outskirts or the city, whatever." And then you just pull out a card, and the person to your right or left, whatever, doesn't matter really, reads a card to you. It's like a crossroads card, if cross mechanism that you've heard probably about. So like they read the card to you, something happened, the story element. Then choose A, do this, or choose B, do that. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to choose the B. And then they read the consequences. What is the B answer? Or sometimes it's just you get some stuff. It's like in almost like in Near and Far as well. Just get some resources. You might get a skill upgrade, something like that, or you get a story element further. So you go and you get a kind of a location token or something like that you need to go to, and then you pull out from another deck, which is a numbered deck, where the story continues out of your choice. So sometimes there's that, sometimes there's not. So it's random exploration type of thing, but it's just story elements, just as was with the crossroad cards. And so this I like. So the other thing you can do, you can fight monsters. When you fight the monster has their own deck. It's a common deck for each monster, but basically it's really easy. The monster just you choose pre-fight. You choose, like, are they gonna bite or gonna rush at you, something like that. Then you say it, then you turn over the card, and they do some damage to you. And what you do before each of your fight turns, you can drink some potions, use some of the abilities, maybe once per fight abilities, maybe special skills, etc. Or equipment if you found some equipment during your story elements, and you drink up potions and you go fight and you try to defeat. The fighting element of this game, maybe if I can find the cards, maybe not. So yeah, you can see here. So the fighting element is similar to now combo fighter kind of a thing going on. If you remember combo fighter, where
I do
you play the
remember Combo
first card, you play the first card, but then you need to match the other cards based on your first card, like extension to your attack. So it's also almost the same. You do a combo, and let's say I'm gonna play a yellow card first, and then you can see the small purple stuff over there. So that means that next I can play a purple card next to it. So you create a combo. It can do damage. It can get you more cards for your next fight turn. It can do something else, small things. So you're trying to do that. And you are also building up your deck. So everybody has the same deck of cards at the beginning, but then you will start buying more cards. Each round you will buy cards. Each of your turns you will buy cards anyway. It's a very slow deck building type of thing, but you're trying to buy certain cards so the colors will match. You're trying to create those combos and make the combos pop up easier and faster, whatever, when you fight. You can fight the Witcher. You can play poker with another Witcher, kind of like just roll the dice randomly. So the whole thing is just roaming around, enjoying the story elements and upgrading yourself, and then fighting monsters. And you can win only if so it's basically you need to get 4 trophies. So the trophies you can get from fighting another Witcher, or you can get the trophy from fighting a monster. And the more monsters you like, for example, at the beginning you have level 1 monsters, but if you defeat the monster, the new monster comes up in its place. maybe in a new location, but it's stronger and it's stronger. So the more you kick them, the stronger they come back. And those are all the monsters from the Witcher universe. So it has this thematic tie to it, to the IP, but it's not overly like it's Witcher theme just boozing out of this game. It's not like that. But you
Mm.
can buy some of the expansion. So this one is kind of race to the last trophy. If you get the fourth trophy, you win the
Mhm.
game. So I have the Skellig expansion. The Skellig expansion is not it doesn't add a new victory condition, but it adds an extension to the board, which are islands, and you have some, rules or how you can reach those islands, etc. But there's also like locations, but there's also that special monster, I don't remember the name, which you can fight. You don't get the trophy, but you get some bonuses from that monster as well. And you have those rough seas, and you like pull out the card and see what happened to you on the while you were going to the island, etc. You can discover more islands. I never discovered them yet because the deck of exploration is quite thick. But you can basically create more places as you play if you discover a lot of that sea thing. And another expansion I want to get is Legendary Monsters, which is out right now of the retail. I want something. I want the adventure pack as well, which is not out, but the adventure pack adds more exploration cards, so more story elements.
Okay.
But Legendary Hunt, which it adds the miniatures of the legendary monsters. So, and the only way you can win a game is to slay a legendary monster, and they're gonna roam around the board creating havoc. Because right now you can stay in the same place with the monster; they do nothing to you until you initiate a fight with them. They are nothing. They're just yeah, no threat. So I was thinking about the Legendary Monsters expansion. So that monster will just wreak havoc and go around the board. Just that's what I read, and then you have to slay the Legendary Monsters to win, which
Mm.
makes it more interesting. The negative part about this one is this game can be long based on the it's on itself. It's a long game because if people start building up more than fighting and trying to get the trophies, the game can drag on, and that's the thing. It's has those Euro elements to build yourself up, and and depends on the group. So if I'm more about like just go roam around and fight and explore. I don't want to build up too much. It's just prolonging the game. But I played with people who are more like Euro gamers. They want to have the best deck possible and things. So, but if they're not fighting monsters, they're not getting trophies. Nobody's getting trophies. So, yeah, it depends. It's group dependent. You have to go into this game with a thought. I'm going to explore. I'm going to fight. It's a games problem. It's a games problem, and it's also a groups problem. So I don't know how to rate that part of it. So I don't want to say it's
Okay.
totally games problem, but that's how it is. With the wrong group, it can drag and it can be
A
somewhat boring.
drag. Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
Witcher Old World is and you have those different Witchers and they have like one special skill, but mostly they are not that different from each other.
Yeah.
So
Well, I have no connection with the books or the TV show or the video games. My
oh
brother was telling me that he had gotten this game, so I might try it with him sometime if I'm out there. Otherwise, I guess we'll see.
yeah, I think you need to try a video game as well. Because you like those
Mm,
RPGs and some things. I think definitely this is something that with the Wild Hunt, the first Witcher game, you should play it. It's one of the best games.
we'll see. Maybe someday I will.
Okay, got it.
There
Anyway, that's for recent plays. Let's get to
you
the
go.
crowdfunding. So the crowdfunding.
Whoa
Here we go.
ho!
So where do you have your
All
desired?
right, I have. This is a strange period in my life when I don't think I have more than two active Kickstarter type projects. So I
You're
picked
weird.
one of them. Yeah, it's a very strange. It's a strange period. I don't know that it'll last. Uh, but I have a project on Kickstarter that I always have to look at the name because I want to call it something different than it is. It's called Stone Spine Architects. not Spire.
Yeah. It showed me. I know. Okay.
And this is from the same publisher who did games like Role Player and Cartographers.
Yes.
And they're about 50-50 for me, I guess I would say. I love both of those games I mentioned. Some of their others I have found to be a little bit less interesting, but this one
True.
looks like it might be more in line with the type of games I like, and it looks like it's coming out with various cartographers components as well, mini expansions, and a
Mm.
Minotaur plushie. Which, sure, why not? I
Yep.
definitely need those things. I don't know much. I don't know all that much about the game itself, but it does look like it's sort of in this role player universe, whatever that means. And
Mm-hmm.
this is Dawn of Ulos and the prison one. I'm not sure how much I loved those, but I
I
really
didn't
love
like the prison
cartographers.
one. No.
I
But
really love
I do.
cartographers,
True.
and I really enjoy role players. So I'm willing to give this one a chance, and let's hope and see. And of course, I'll get a plush Minotaur out of the deal as well.
Yeah. So I had the same pick. Um,
Oh,
Also because
well, that'll make it fast.
it's a cartographer's thing, and yeah, it's kind of you create kind of a path of those cards. Kind of you create this tableau, and then yeah you have
Yeah,
to match the stuff. It sounds a little bit like role player where you had to create certain amounts of skills or numbers of skills so you can match them. It sounds like that, and then maybe a bit of cartographer's thing going on. It's just from the same publisher, so I'm interested. I'm not the biggest fan of role player. It was good. It just it was puzzle. It wasn't really thematic for me, which was this one is also like a puzzle, but I like cartographers a lot. So yeah.
and you definitely see cartographers highlighted more on this page than any of the publisher's other games. It's like here you see this new game and lots of pictures of cartographers. So
So yeah. So this is $4, $20 for the plushie, and if you want to get the Stone Spine Architects, and you get
yeah,
game and mini expansion probably for the cartographer promos. So you can get $40 is not much, and if you play
it's not
56,
that bad. And this publisher is relatively fast on getting its things done. So, that they really only work on one project at a time. So you won't need to be worried about this taking 27 years.
so if you want to get everything, though I'm not sure if it has the Architects mini expansion as well. Okay, if you want to get everything, it's $60, which is not that much.
And
If you
that's
want a
including
plushie,
the plushie,
yeah. So
which is very important.
yes, true. Anyway, yeah, it's the same pick for both of us.
All
Yeah,
right. There we go.
nice.
That'll make it a fast segment.
Yeah. Let's get to another topic, which is bye. You can try, but you can also say goodbye. Anyway, and
Yes.
I told Kyle that he needs to give me a few suggestions because I'm running out of those suggestions for you, Kyle, because you played like 2 million games and I played much less.
2 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there are some games that you could find for me, but you asked me to do it today, so I'm doing it, and I'm hoping I did look and I saw that you had not rated these games. So we'll we'll see if
Find
that's
out.
true. One of them was a little. I was pretty sure you would have played, but that's all right. We'll find out when I talk about them. So these are games, of course, since game publishers are on the topic today. These are games from publishers that I have enjoyed in the past,
I see.
and they're all
Okay.
sort of today. We're all dealing with dungeon crawl type games. I don't know how that happened, but well, once I picked the first two, the third one just fell in line. So
Okay.
We're going to start with a dungeony game. And this is a game from a publisher that I quite enjoy. The publisher is Plaid Hat Games, and the game
Yeah.
is Dungeon Run. So Dungeon
Okay.
Run was Plaid Hat's second published game. Way back in the days, they promised a Dungeon Run 2.0, which has not been delivered. Which, I mean, well, they didn't take money for it, but they put up the rule book and then never went anywhere with it. But this game is sort of, thematically a prequel to Summoner Wars, in which you're building out a dungeon and going in to find the summoning stone. You're all working together, sort of, to
Mm-hmm.
place this dungeon out and defeat the monsters, but you're not really working together because as soon as somebody kills the boss and picks up the summoning stone, the game changes and it becomes a race for the person who has the magical object to escape the dungeon, or for everyone else to try and kill that person and take the stone for themselves. A very
Mm-hmm.
light game, a very interesting way of handling combat. It's just die rolling, but each monster has different dice that it will use to block, some it will use to attack, and so you're kind of using these dice to place them in different places based upon what you've rolled to deflect damage or do damage. Lots of different characters, each with special abilities, and not a particularly long game, uh, but an interesting one in any event. That's your first option, Dungeon Run.
Got it.
Your second is another dungeon crawler. This one from publisher Flying Frog. The game is Shadows of Brimstone.
Okay.
Shadows of Brimstone is a large and sprawling game where you are some sort of, at least in the base game, cowboy type character, and you have found an old mine in your town that apparently leads to hell. Uh, Not
Mm.
literally, but kind of, yes. And you're going to go into this mine, and you're looking for this doomstone substance, which you can then take back and use to buy upgrades and things with. But as you're going on, you're going to fight all kinds of monsters. You're going to have all kinds of encounters. Uh, as you get more of this doomstone substance, it will corrupt you to the point where eventually you're going to take mutations, which can be good or bad. I mean, who wouldn't want a third arm? But you've got these very pulpy type characters. There are hundreds of expansions. I don't think I'm exaggerating in that, but usually
Yeah.
they're just sort of one set of monsters. You can mix and match them with various sets if you own the other worlds. So there's sort of this core area, but then there are these gates to other worlds, and so you might find yourself in feudal Japan, or you might find yourself inside a monster, or you might find yourself in a post-apocalyptic world, or in a volcano. A whole bunch of different places you can end up, stories you can have, and you're eventually going to come to some sort of a conclusion and win or lose.
Yeah.
Cooperative game, very lucky and random. In fact, it uses a roll and move mechanism, not something we often enjoy, but the experience is just so fun, and sort of all of the adventures you're going to have can sort of overcome some of that luck, and you'll just have it's one of those games where there's a lot of rules, but really only one person needs to know them, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone else can just go in and have an interesting and memorable adventure.
Got it.
And your third dungeon crawl of the week is a game by a large publisher, publishes mostly through Kickstarter, and the game is Massive Darkness 2. Massive
Mm-hmm.
Darkness 2 is a large, sprawling, and very expensive game with lots of very nice and scary figures. What you are is some sort of a heroic archetype that you're going in and you're fighting through this dungeon, trying to cooperative game meet some sort of an objective. As the game progresses, various monsters are going to come out, and I wonder what that green thing is. And you're going to be fighting them. There's a whole bunch
Mm-hmm.
of different monsters. They're all going to bring with them weapons, and every time you kill the monster group, You're going to get whatever weapons it was holding. You'll get lots of
Hmm.
treasure. In fact, you'll have so much treasure that you won't even know what to do with it, which is good because you have lots of options. Sort of the hook of the game, though, is that each of the different heroes has a different sort of almost mini game that they're playing, a different sort of way to play. For example,
Hmm.
your wizard character has this rondel of four spells that he can be upgrading, but he has to he can only play one at a time, the one that it's pointing to, and he has to pay more of resources to skip it and move around. And sometimes, you might end up with the wrong spell at the wrong time. So you have to be careful at managing that. There's the ranger character who is essentially playing a third of a game of blackjack, um, BLA. Uh, he's got these cards he's flipping over, and as long as he doesn't go above seven of these arrow symbols, he's going to do really well. But if he busts, he's going to suffer all kinds of bad things, and so you're sort of balancing the risk and reward there. There's others too. I don't need to talk about them all, but there's various the different heroes all have a different feel about them and a different way that they excel. And so you can pick one that sounds interesting to you, or just try them all. Uh, a fun
Yeah.
game, probably currently my favorite dungeon crawler game, and but it's very large and difficult to store, and there's a lot wrong with it, but there's a lot right with it too. So
Got it.
those are your three games. Hopefully, you've not played any of them.
No, I'm not. So yeah, for buy try goodbye. So let's start with a goodbye. Um, as much as I would have liked to try this second edition, because I was looking at the first edition many years. Um, the second edition isn't out, so the first edition seems to be not that great. Seems to be. I've never tried it, but it's just how it feels. So Dungeon Run is something to say goodbye to. Just an old
Goodbye,
title.
Dungeon Run.
Yeah, old title, probably outdated design for now. So yeah, I'm not that curious about this one. For the try,
Okay.
I was thinking about that though. I was thinking about trying out this game. I'm a bit afraid of the sprawling aura it has and thousands of content things. So Shadows of Brimstone, I think, is something I should try because I do love this. It sounds like just go in, see what happens, react to stuff. This is something I like in Dungeon Crawls. Yeah. So that's something that I might be interested in. And of course, buy is Massive Darkness 2 because, as you said, the asymmetry between the characters is cool. It's cooperative. And I like the idea how if you defeat a monster, you take their weapon. That's encouraging. I like that idea. So and then you're like, ooh, that that guy has a cool sword. I'm gonna go kill that guy. No, so yeah, this is my lineup.
Not a good thing to do in life, but yes.
Yeah, this is my lineup for buy, try, goodbye. Massive Darkness to buy, uh, Shadows Brim, Shadows of Brimstone to try, and Dungeon Run.
All right.
So yeah, that's
There we
it.
go.
And we're finally here for the topic of the day: top
Hooray.
5 board game publishers. Yes, true, publishers. And so it's top 5 now. I mean, I could do a list of many publishers that I really enjoy. Um,
Yeah.
what I tried to how I tried to create the list. So I was thinking about the publishers if they announce a game, how much I would be excited about. Like, okay, they announced the game. I'm like, okay, they had some hits and misses, and, and everybody has some hits and misses. So it's not like I don't like every game from all these publishers that they put on the list. But if they come out with something, I'm more than excited. So yeah. But what about you?
I'm in a very similar approach, I believe. For me, it is how much. Again, I did not look at just the publishers of my favorite games. I looked at the kinds of, if I hear that this publishing company is putting out a game, I'm interested in purchasing it sight unseen, or at least strongly considering it. Uh,
Yeah,
my favorite game is, it might be by one publisher, but maybe they've put out, maybe their brand has shifted a bit, or something over the years. These ones are, I know that it's coming out. I get that Kickstarter notification or the pre-order opportunity, uh, and I go there and do sort of that purchasing, that commercial transaction, even before knowing anything about the game.
yeah. And also, this list could change. It could be different tomorrow. It could be different in a month
Sure.
because sometimes I'm getting less excited about some of the publishers. I'm like, okay, they haven't done anything good for a while. I'm like, okay, bye bye. But then another publisher just surprises me and surprises me
Yeah.
again and again. So the list might change, but for today, that's the list. So let's start with number 5.
Let's go. All right. My number 5 is a company that makes big, complicated games.
Yeah,
Um, in fact, I believe almost all of its games have been large and complicated. The company is Mind Clash Games. They have put
yeah,
out they've had a lot of hits. They've had, one or two, duds, but most of their games, it's one of those companies. I hear they're coming out with something, and I jump right on board. Anachrony was probably their first big hit, but they've come out with lots of others. I've enjoyed Perseverance, which is, I think, I think it came out at the wrong time or something. I don't hear anybody talking about it, but it's just a fantastic, interesting two games that are just
hmm,
sold in one box and use the same components, and both are really good. They have
yeah,
several new ones coming out, but as soon as they're involved with something, I'm automatically interested in it. And even if it sometimes ends up like Anachrony, where the base game's really good and then there's 16 expansion modules that I've never played with, that's okay, because I enjoyed the base game.
yeah,
um, but anyway, I'm always really interested in them. They're sort of, David Tortsey tends to be their lead designer
yeah.
there, and I usually enjoy his things as well. They usually work very well solo, not always, but most of the time they do, and they're always large and very complicated. So there you go.
Yeah, it might be in my top 10. I
Mhm.
was excited about them more before when they came out with Tricerion, which is, I think, the first big hit is Tricerion, not Anachrony. Tricerion was a hit, and you can see it's 106 ranked game on BGG, so it was still a hit. Then came Anachrony and was even a bigger hit, and then I don't. I think that Cerebria wasn't as well received as the others, and then I only tried Tricerion and Anachrony, so that's why they have so many other games. So I couldn't really put them on my list because I need to kind of get my excitement back for
Okay.
them. But yeah, I tried Astra. Okay, I tried Astra as well, but Astra was nice, but it's a small game. Yeah, this kitchen sink philosophy, sometimes it plays a good part, sometimes not so good part. You just, sometimes I'm just not as excited to read another huge rule book with all sorts of exceptions and things. So yeah, it's hard for me to get excited by the heavy
Wait, you're
Euro
not
heavy publishers.
excited to read a huge rule book?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I'm always
okay.
excited to read a huge rule book, at least until the setup is done. Then I'm like, okay, let's let's skip it and try it again tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good choice.
All right.
For my number 5 is, so I like French school of design. Let's say, yeah, I like all the French designers. They have some quirky games. They have some. Uh, they're this type, and it's all mix and match nowadays, of course, hybrids and stuff. But still, you can see the French design, you can see the simplicity within, and like deeper strategy within a simple rule set. That's what I like about French school of design. And one of the companies I'm always excited to see what they come up with is Bombix.
Mm.
Because as you can see here, okay, so let's get to Bombix over here. Okay, the linked games, you can see, uh, of course, they had some other games that are maybe published, co-published with another original publishing company, but Abyss is theirs, Imaginarium, and now Sea Salt and Paper, which I have not tried, but I really want to. Histrio is something I enjoyed. So they have, and Nicodemus I want to try. So when they come up with a game, I'm always excited to see what they uh, came up with. What's weird or interesting mechanisms they have, or they always have great artwork as well.
They do that.
So I think the Mysterium is also isn't it made by Bombix partially? I know it's Asmodee, but I
Well,
think
I mean, I think maybe the U.S. sort of the
it's cool.
non sort of Eastern European reprint of it. What might have been.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I do enjoy. I love Abyss. So
Me too.
they work with those with the famous French designers and Bruno Catala and Ludovic Maublanc and Theo Rivière, etc. So w- I just I'm always excited. I might not always like the game. I'm sure about that, but like for example, Histrio, I did really enjoy Histrio. I like their production. I like their art. I like their themes, um, anthropomorphic animals and things. They all usually try to steer towards that kind of a theme. So yeah, Bombix is actually a great publisher. Just not as common nowadays. They don't come up with so many games. Yeah.
Yeah, they're one that they most of their games tend to be, at least over here, are often either co-published or mainly published by another company, and so they're not often as easy to recognize. I think, at least in the market in which I play. I've enjoyed many of their games, but it's difficult to find, at least for me, to find their particular brand identity, just because it's often masked by some other feature.
True. Yeah. Anyway, Bombix my number 5. Let's get to number 4.
All right. All right, my number four, another company that as soon as they have anything coming out, I know that I'm going to be interested. I pre-order whatever they're selling. I have enjoyed many of their things too. Fortunately, they, as many companies have a dud or two in there, but for the most part, what they put out has been really good and interesting. And that company is Stonemeyer.
Mhm.
Recently came out with Expeditions, which is their first true pre-order in a long time, where you pay for it and wait a while. Uh, but they've had lots of fairly substantial hits, including Wingspan and Scythe, and Tapestry, and then some others that have been less well received. But for the most part, as soon as they're involved, I know that they're going to be delivered relatively quickly after they tell me they're going to be. The components are usually going to be really good. The games themselves have generally, they're going to fall within certain parameters of game design in terms of length and player count. Usually, they're going to have a decent solo mode, and I have really enjoyed quite a few of theirs, to the point where I'm excited enough for
Mhm.
their new stuff that I'll even pay whatever $20 a year to have discount on the shipping. So I really enjoy this company and its releases, and I'm always excited to hear what's coming next.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most successful companies in the board game world. I mean, I'm not sure what is their capital, but
No, he'll
uh,
tell you because he'll put all of his financial stuff online.
yeah, true. But I mean, like they are actually. You can say there's not that many people working. It seems to be a smaller company, but it's a big
It's very
company
small.
board game wise. But actually, it's like print wise, publishing wise, it's a big company.
Well, they have lots of games, and like Mind Clash or some of the other ones we're going to talk about, they do a good job at focusing on just one or two releases, or maybe three releases a year, and really promoting those really well, and making sure that that one or two games get out.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other larger publishers, you'll find that they'll put out 75 games in the year. And of the 75, they might have two hits, but there's
Yeah.
also a lot of noise to weed through. And that's not something that I have a problem with Stonemaier, for
Yeah, but
example.
those print runs
They're
are
pretty
like
focused.
5,000 usually. 10,000 is a bigger print run, but like for example, Wingspan, I heard
Well,
reached across the different versions, the language versions of the game, reached million copies, something like that. It sold million. So who else has the same? Yeah, except maybe Ticket to Ride and maybe Catan, and we're not talking about Magic. So, but
it's a big mark.
yeah. Anyway, my number four is the publisher near and dear to your heart, and I do also. I'm always interested in everything they come up with. I don't always buy those games because I see like, okay, that's not really for me. But I'm always curious. Like they come up with a new game, like, ooh, I wanna see if I want that one. Some of them are just there's one line of games which is like those story games. Um, anyway, let me just get to the publisher. It's Plaidhead Games.
All right.
So 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 one of the so they have this stuffed fables and all of the other ones, common arts, whatever. It seems to be all like in the same pot. It's those games, and I've tried common arts and things, and they're very interesting. But I'm not into maybe that kind of category or mechanism of games, though they're really good. Uh, yeah, but if we go further, we go with anything else. For example, Forgotten Waters, and then they now have this the new one coming out. What's the name?
I keep forgetting.
F-
It's not the best name. I keep forgetting it too.
yeah, it's
Freelancers.
like freelancers. Yeah, so Forgotten Waters,
Hmm.
but
It's
as a
it's a hard name to
fantasy,
remember. I don't
and
know why.
I don't know, freelancers doesn't sound like a board game. Anyway, yeah, but the Winter was the one that I just saw a few sentences of the description of the game. It wasn't out. There weren't any pictures. They just described the game with a few sentences. I pre-ordered that. So yeah. So I do love Forgotten Waters. Summer Wars is a great game. Just not for me, but like. I can see Mice and Mystics was love of my life during a certain period of time. And so I haven't tried Spectre Ops, which I want to. Ashes I've tried. Yet again, it's not for me. Abomination. They have those sometimes more sprawling thematic games. Abominations was a great game. It was just that too long, but the whole idea, how it worked, it was so great. I really liked it. So I want to try Aftermath, and so Wrexham was okay. But I mean, like, um, if they come up with another game from the Crossroads system, I'm super excited, and I
Sure.
want to get it. So especially when they got on track with the Crossroads mechanism now, using it like they used it in Forgotten Waters. Now they're going to use it in Freelancers. I'm probably going to use it further. So this is the line of games I'm probably going to follow. It's I don't
Hmm.
think Freelancers will be the last one in this line of games. So
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, Plaid Hat was definitely on my short list, but they've had a little bit of brand identity issues in the last little while.
Yeah.
Summoner Wars and Ashes, still two of my favorite games. Excited about Freelancers. I think my copy has been shipped, and I'll be excited to try it. But
Oh,
some of they have this. There's sort of another group. They've had some staff turnover and changes in their design team, and they've designed some games that have just not really felt like that. Hickory Dickory game was a total dud for me. And there've been a
theirs?
couple others. Oh yeah. Um,
I don't
and
think so. Anyway, yeah.
I,
Oh,
I
Bioshock.
promise it's one of theirs. Trust me, this is. And so I've just I've lost a little bit. That's not the
That's not the
same
one.
game.
That's not the one. Yeah.
Um, that's not the right one. That one also looks terrible. But this one looked good, and it was terrible. But
Uh,
and then sort of like you mentioned, the Comanauts, Stuffed Fables, and then Aftermath. Sort of a line of games. Enjoyable. I had a good time with them, but I'm not as excited. And if I find out that a new one is coming out, kind of in that line, I'm like, maybe I'll skip it for now. But again, one that I'm still very interested in, but not going to be in my top five just because they've had a little bit of brand identity issues.
yeah, because they went out of Asmodee from under the Asmodee grasp. That's when I think it's now on my list because now they're trying to get their identity back, and I can see that within their new games coming out, and
I hope so. I
they're
hope
getting
so.
back on track. I think.
Yeah. Well, look, new Summoner Wars is great, and Ashes is solo Ashes that they're coming out with. These solo sets are on fire, so that they might earn their way back onto my list, and they're definitely in my top 10, just not my top 5.
Got it. All right, let's get to number 3. All
All
right.
right, number 3 is kind of a cheat, but not really.
Okay.
And the reason I say it's kind of a cheat is because this company doesn't really come up with its own games. They publish other people's games, and that company
Hmm.
is Restoration.
What?
So, Restoration Games,
Oh, restoration.
which what they do,
Man,
take older games that have been out of print for a while, and often had some promise, but needed a little bit of love and care to make them modern, and then they make them more modern. So these are, I mean, I don't think it's really a cheat.
I think they are. It's a valid choice because they are making them. They have their own originality to it.
They're
It's
not the same game as the old one.
yes.
Um,
They're so heavily reworked that
so I said it's
definitely.
kind of a cheat, but not really. Um,
Yeah.
so everything they have put out, look, I have not loved everything they've put out. Some of their, sometimes they put out something I just am not interested in, but they're sort of big entries. Uh, Downforce, Dark Tower, um,
Unmatched.
Unmatched. Unmatched. I drank that Kool Aid hard and deep. Uh, and also other things. The new Thunder Road that they just came out with is pretty excellent. They've done a lot, and what they put out is usually something I'm going to be interested in. I'm interested in their new, what is it, the catapult one, crossbows and catapults or something that they just put
Maybe.
out on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Everything they do, they take games that were games from my childhood or adjacent to my childhood, and bring them and make them more interesting, more engaging, more accessible. Often throw away some of the chaff that the games didn't really need and replace it with something better. And as soon as I know that they're involved, I'm interested and usually give them a pre-order. Very excited about the new Tales to Amaze that's coming out, I think, in September, which is the cooperative unmatched scenario. Um, anyway, I really enjoy restoration games. I think they've done
Oh,
a
got it.
great job at building their brand and their reputation, and they're one that I'm always interested in watching.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cooperative unmatched might be interesting.
It
Yeah.
might be, and even if it's not, it's four fighters you can use in competitive unmatched. So
Yeah, because for me, I'm yeah, it would be on my list because I tried Unmatched, I wasn't a fan. I tried Stop Thief, wasn't a fan. Then I didn't really try that many of their games. So I've never tried Fireball, never tried Return to Dark Tower. I might at some point. So yeah, but it's not something I'm. Maybe I don't have this childhood connection to those
You
games,
might
or
not,
no, definitely
and
not, because
that's
these are all US.
yeah,
It wasn't really here in Estonia. We played different games.
sure, and that that makes sense, right? I mean, then you'd have to be brought in by the game itself, and if I don't know what it would be like not to have that connection, because I have that connection.
Yeah. All right. My number three is publisher that. In US especially, you might know all those games by another publisher, but that other publisher is just a co-publisher to print them in US, or to bring them to US. And people always forget that the one I'm gonna talk about is the original publisher. Of course, they do things in German mostly. They have some multilingual titles as well, but they mostly do titles in Germany and in German, and then Siemens Games takes them and publishes them in English. It depends on the game. But Hans im Glück
Mhm.
is one of the best publishers out there. I'm always interested in every of their games. Um, yeah, they have a plethora of games. So yeah, you can see the Voyage of Marco Polo is a very popular game. It's published by Hans im Glück. It's the original publisher. You should start, not you particularly, Kyle, but people should start learning about original publishers, and not hailing the all hail Z-Man Games because they published it. No, it was Hans im Glück, and then Z-Man just printed the English edition. That's it. But yeah, Russian Railroads, you can see again. You know it by Z-Man. No, it's Hans im Glück. Stone Age, Dominion, Paleo. Paleo, though, yeah, Paleo. I think Z-Man printed Paleo as well. But at some point, they started putting both of the publishers, I think, on the box. Because with the older games, I don't remember having any Hans im Glück logo on Stone Age or something like that. But in Paleo, I think there is a logo of Z-Man and logo of Hans im Glück both. Because Hans
I
im
don't
Glück
know. I think I got a
managed
German
the
edition of
German
it.
version. Yeah, but then like if you have the German version, then it's Hans im Glück. So Carcassonne. Now I also First Class. The new game called Planet B. Uh, they are all Hans im Glück. You can see there's so many games that they publish, and sometimes, yeah. For example, Planet B. I think it's also co-published by Z-Man Games. I mean, it seems to be that nowadays they put both publishers on the box, even if
Mm.
it's like if it's an English copy, but they put Z-Man Games and Hans im Glück, which is great because then people know who is the original publisher. But yeah, they have so many games they publish, and Carcassonne is one of the biggest hits ever. Yeah, so yeah, Hans im Glück. I'm always interested in whatever they come up with. Um, there's a game that's skipped my mind. I don't remember it. Anyway, yeah. For example, Planet B was the one. I was like, Planet B, yeah, sounds okay. Oh, Hans im Glück. Oh, now I'm interested. I was that way. So
Okay.
yeah, that's a great publisher.
Yeah, I've enjoyed many of their games. In fact, I was playing one just the other day, and I was showing it to someone, and they had asked about that logo, and I said, "Yeah, it's a German publisher." I'm trying to remember what game it was now, but doesn't matter. I've enjoyed theirs. I don't know that they have much of a brand identity, and that's why I didn't think about them for my list. Just because they kind of do a little bit of everything, and they've had lots of great games, and they usually do a good job at putting out a good product. But I don't know that I could
Mm.
look at a game and say, "Aha, it's going to be one of theirs." I can tell just by the description, and
I
so
kind
that
of
might be.
I kind of can sometimes tell because their games are this weird mixture of simple mechanisms, but they're a little bit like a French school of design. They are rather streamlined.
Hans im Glück.
Planet B can be like a little bit more heavier, but still like really streamlined rules. And you can see the paleo
Okay.
box. So basically, that's how they started doing that. You can
Mm.
see both logos. So Yeah,
Sure.
and
Anyway.
let me see if we also had just for a moment. Uh, yeah, I think this one had. No, it's not. Anyway, yeah, I think I got this one as an English copy, but maybe it's multilingual. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, a great publisher.
All right.
Let's get to number 2.
Hooray. All righty. My number 2 is, I believe, a Polish publisher, but another one where, I mean, I
Hmm.
even watch their games, right? I mean, I have on my Game Found projects to watch several of theirs that are coming up because I'm excited enough for them that I don't even know anything about them yet, and I'm still ready to go. And that
Yeah.
company is Awaken Realms.
Okay. Yeah,
And
they're Polish.
they have put out a lot of really interesting games. They
Yes.
usually go through Game Found these days, and they are kind of, well, many of those look like some of those look like they might be localizations, like Canvas, for example, isn't one of theirs. But
They do a lot of localizations. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but they're actually, I'm talking more about their core, sort of their published games. This is the company behind things like what is it, Lords of Hellas, behind uh, that one you like, Nemesis,
Nemesis, Tainted
behind
Grail, This World
yeah, Tainted
9,
Grail, the Great Wall. Lots of
Vanguard.
really
Yeah.
good big games. They also recently came out with the Castles of Burgundy Deluxe Edition, which is a little off-brand for them, but is a fantastic production. So, so there's that. Um,
Yeah.
but whatever they do, they put a lot into. And they also have an interesting manner of distribution where they will send you the game, usually pretty close to, close in time to after you've ordered it. And then they will sort of work on all of the expansion content and send that to you a year or so later. And it's nice because you get to play the game, experience it, and by the time you're ready for new stuff, well, there it is, already on your
Yeah.
doorstep.
I
And
like
I
this
think
idea a
that's a
lot.
great way to handle it because then I
Yes.
don't get a box with 2 million things and feel overwhelmed. And so like I have ISS Vanguard sitting over here. I haven't played it yet. I keep meaning to play it, but stuff gets in the way. But probably by the time I've played and experienced it, that's when they're going to ship me all of the expansions and stuff that I ordered. And I think that's a great way. It's like getting the game twice. And I think that's a fine way of doing
Yeah.
things. Whatever, they have some new dragony game that's coming out. I can't ever remember. The problem is until the game's out, it's often difficult to remember. It's like Dragon Tier or something that looks like it's going to be really interesting. Um, anyway, I think they might be the company that's
Dragon
behind
Eclipse.
GameFound. Dragon Eclipse, yeah. I think GameFound was set up in some strong connection with them. I don't know if it was just their distribution platform or if it's the same people, but I know there's some connection there. But yeah,
What?
Dragon
Game
Eclipse,
Found?
yes,
They are the ones. Yeah, they're the same.
yeah. But anyway, whatever they are involved in, I'm interested in taking a look at. Sometimes I will pass, like they came out with a bunch of custom dice that were, and Stalker is one that I, for whatever reason, decided not to jump in on. But I might eventually regret that and
I
change my
I
mind.
want
Who
to try
knows?
that one. Hmm. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's yet again. It's not on my list because yes, Nemesis. I adore Nemesis, and
Do
but they're
you?
the same kind of problem, another problem as with Minecraft games. I've only tried few of their titles, very few, and I haven't tried most of their titles, so I cannot really relate to how great they are. And I've heard how great all of those games are, um, but it just maybe I'm not as excited about those kitchen games. And this is the same. When they do a game, it's a big game. I like the idea of
Hmm.
they had this with Nemesis Kickstarter. They had the same. So like, so do you want to receive your game in 2 batches? Maybe there will be a little bit more shipping, just a bit more, but then I get the base game early, I can learn it, I can play it, and then I get expansions, and then it's easier to learn all the stuff. Or you can just get everything at once. They always give you the option. You can get everything at once, but you get it later. So up to you.
Much later.
Yeah, but then you pay less shipping, whatever. It depends on person. But yeah, it's each time they come up with the game, it's a huge game. I'm like, okay, and it's sprawling. Sometimes it's like sci-fi thing, which I'm not really interested in. So I'm
So
kind of
what
always
was your number one game?
my number one game.
When we did it
So
recently, was that a sci-fi themed game?
Nemesis.
Yes,
I think Nemesis was my number one this time.
it was. That's why I found it interesting when you said you weren't into sci-fi. But
No, but I mean
that's a
Nemesis.
different discussion.
Yeah, I don't feel like Nemesis being sci-fi. I mean more like ISS Vanguard kind of a thing, like the ships and the planets.
Okay.
Nemesis feels more a dungeon crawl on the
I
aliens.
see.
It feels really different from
Okay.
it's not Twilight Imperium kind of
That's true. It's not. And
theme.
I don't think
Yeah.
I would enjoy it if it were. Anyway,
Anyway,
so
yeah. It's a good choice. All right, my number two is publisher that doesn't publish much, but when they do, I'm always excited about a new game. I don't enjoy every of the games. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the games, but each time they come up with a game, I'm always very excited. I always want to try it, or maybe even just buy it and see what happens. Days of Wonder. It's one of those publishers you just know they will come up with a game that's well tested, well done. Mostly, there was one game, the River
there's that
something.
one, the
Yeah,
river.
just one, but they had a bad run there, bad year. But you can see, Heat is already 69 on the BGG rank.
Heat's
I
hot.
played Heat. Yeah, I played Heat. I'm not the biggest fan of race games. That's why I didn't enjoy it as much. But I can see Heat being very popular. Five Tribes really enjoyed Ticket Ride. Yet again, I'm not a fan of Ticket Ride, but I can see people loving this game. This is one of the biggest games out there. Only Tommy's not there. Small World I played as well, which also enjoyed it, but not. But yeah, it like every game is kind of. So what's the identity of Days of Wonders when they publish a game? So they have Metropolis, Five Tribes, Small World, Ticket Ride. Every game is different. They don't have this kind of a Planet Games vibe of stuff, fables, things, and they don't really have a line of game. They just come out with a game, and it's great. So there's no identity here, or Shadows or Camelot, or Colosseum, etc. Yamatai. Each of those games is very different, and that's why I really enjoy them, because when they come up with something, ooh, it's new. It's not yet again the quest of Valeria, the kingdom of Valeria, the princess of Valeria, the Valeria of Valeria, whatever, all of these publishers that try to put every game under the same universe, but then what's the point, because the games are still kind of different, but then there's that disconnection. Days one that doesn't try that, they just do it. Oh, sorry. Anyway, yeah. I'm extremely excited when they come up with a new game.
I am too. I definitely would have considered them for my list. I have enjoyed pretty much everything they've done, more than you. I didn't really love The River, and I'm not a huge fan of Cargo Noir. That's another one of theirs that was.
I haven't tried. This is one of the early ones, yeah.
But
River was bad.
I'm very excited for their 2023 release, which will be the Legacy Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, which again, now
which
they
I'm very
come up with
excited
the
for.
Legacy. Yet again, something completely new for them.
It might be a disaster, but hey, if I end up playing 20 games of Ticket to Ride, it's not that bad.
Even I might be interested in Ticket Ride Legacy.
Whoa!
Yeah, because I was thinking about if you add legacy elements, I want to try it. Maybe you just don't play it when you get it. Leave it for the cruise, and then we can do.
Wait. Sorry, what?
Yeah, you have to wait till the cruise.
I have to wait till the cruise to play Ticket to Ride Legacy? Let's
Yes.
see. I have been known to play a Legacy game more than once.
Yeah. Can. But I mean, wait for
Let's
that one. We
see
might play together.
what happens.
Anyway.
Let's see when it comes out, even in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to number 1.
All right.
All right. What's your numero uno?
All righty. My number 1. Again, this was a harder list to make just because there's lots of companies that I really enjoy. But again, kind of going back to my core philosophy, if this company's involved, I already know I'm getting this game. This company is known, definitely does have a brand identity, mostly because of a component it uses, but also two actually.
Off
One is
Valeria? No, I'm kidding.
what? No, well, yeah,
Off Valeria brand. I call it Off Valeria brand.
I'm convinced that one of the owners of this company, also has a neoprene business, because of the amount of it they use in their
I
games.
see.
This is Chip Theory Games.
Mhm.
All of their games are going to be large, very adventurous, usually complicated, have a ton of neoprene, usually lots of custom dice, and always, at least in some aspect, poker chips. Although their most recent one barely had them; they were just sort of little
Burn
magnetic
cycle?
things for your mini. Yeah, it has very few chips in it. It has some, right? It has some, but it's nothing like the good old days where they were using them for life. Um, yeah, this is a company that I just really enjoy everything, to the point that they had some Elder Scrolls game that came out, or that was on GameFound a while ago. And even though I have no connection with that IP, I said, well, you know what? I'm interested enough in this company just to take a plunge on some video game that I know nothing about. Uh, and we'll see, right? Let's have fun with it. Obviously, their biggest game is Too Many Bones, and they keep supporting that, which has been great.
Oh, now
But they
there's too
have,
many. Too many
well,
bones.
they're
Too many
you
bones.
know, I actually think they might be done, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if they put out a new character once a year or whatever, like they've been doing. That might be a better way to support it going forward. But at this point, I would be okay if they didn't put out another expansion for Too Many Bones. I don't even know where I would put it.
Yeah, are they done or Dominion done?
I think they're probably. I don't know. I don't have any insight. The fans of that game are very loyal, but I think a better way to do it going forward would be small expansions of one or two characters rather than trying to keep going back to the source. But we'll see. But it's a company, right? I mean, this isn't the Too Many Bones podcast, although we could do that one. I It's just a fun publisher, and they're
Yeah.
very good. So the one thing you can also know about them is that, like, you go to Kickstarter or something like that, and you're often paying a lot more to receive something later than you would pay if you went later. This company doesn't do that, right? They only sell their games directly, so you always know you're going to be getting the best deal. That's whether you like that or not, it leads to a little bit more confidence for me in jumping in with them.
Yeah.
But they've kept their sort of core games supported. They are all really fun, although all really different. But I just really enjoy the games that they're putting out, and I'm always really excited to see what's coming next.
Okay. Got it. Yeah,
I
it's
don't think this will be your number one.
no.
I don't think you've played anything from this company.
No, I played nothing of them. So, but my number 1 is a crossover. Indeed.
No,
And
really.
you probably know what this is.
Well, let's see. Hmm.
Tell me.
Do they put out games with metal mechs?
Yes, though I don't have any.
Do you have an opportunity to subscribe to a pre-order list for $25 a year?
I did that.
All right. I have no idea. What company could this be?
Oh, it's called Chipmayer Games. No,
Oh, there we go.
Omar Games, of course. Yeah, it's they a hit after hit kind of a thing going on there. They just so reliable. You know the production's going to be good. Okay, so there might be a few games, for example, Between Two Cities. I think I kind of played half of the game. Maybe I don't remember really, but it's not
Wait,
my type
between
of game
one
partnership.
city?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think we started playing and then we for some reason we couldn't finish and then we had to. Just don't remember. Anyway, and I even liked
The
Red
game
Rising, which
an
people
hour.
don't like it, but yeah. But Fantasy Realms is not as good as Red Rising. Uh, yeah, I like to say I even like Red Rising, which was not that well received. Um, I did the only game that I didn't try uh, and didn't buy, didn't consider is Pendulum because I'm
And
not into real time thing. Because
that's probably
I
their
sold
biggest dud,
yeah
even in the core fan group. I think that was
yeah
the
it seems
least
to be
well
unique.
received.
Yeah, it seems to be unique, but it's a real time thing. I just saw through this and like okay, no, I will not enjoy it because of the mechanism already. But everything else, you go Scythe, you go. I'm always excited. Tapestry. So I was each time they put something out, I'm super excited. I want to buy it, and I kept myself back from pre-ordering Expeditions for the only reason I want to see it being played, reviewed. Now I've seen it played and reviewed, so I'm gonna order Expeditions from their website using the Champions discount. Um, but yeah, a I each time they come up with something, it's worth at least trying. At least, always, except Pendulum. Um, yeah, but everything
Fair
else,
enough.
yeah, I just they will come up with more Wingspan expansions, and I'm gonna buy them. Just,
No,
I'm not even gonna read what they do, like I did with Asia
no.
expansion. Like they came up with a new expansion and the nesting box. I'm just gonna buy it. Why? I don't know. Do I need more cards? No.
You do. You
Do I
haven't seen
want them?
every bird.
Yeah, yeah. Do I want? Do you want them? Yes. So yeah, Stonemaier Games is something I'm instantly excited. They just give me more great games. I haven't played Charterstone on as a physical copy, but we started playing it on Steam. We didn't finish. We played few games. For some reason, we just couldn't get together to play it on Steam. But yeah, I wanna maybe get back to it and start Charterstone again on Steam. Yeah, even that.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely can't object to this since it was on my list, and I know that you enjoy some of their games even more than I do, and I enjoy
Yeah,
some of them even more than you do.
yeah.
So
I don't like viticulture, but I can recognize it as a great game, and it's well received. One of their best games.
I
But
will tell
still,
you that Viticulture's cooperative expansion brings it out of darkness and into light for me.
oh, got it.
But anyway, well,
All right,
good.
that's it for today.
That is,
We are
we're all done.
done. We're done. It's done. We did it. We praised the
Hurrah!
publishers. Now you're gonna go and
Talked about some
praise.
games too. We slipped a game or two in there.
Yeah, yeah. You can go praise someone else now. While
You
I
mean go to
will.
church? Well, I have to go. I
Yes.
have to get dressed for church. These aren't my church clothes.
Yeah.
Um,
And we're gonna see you soon for another episode. I think we're gonna do. We didn't do any Jenga preview. I was thinking about Jenga preview, but then I was like, I
well,
don't
it'll be
know.
too late by the time we get there at this point. So,
Yes, I was thinking about doing it today, but then at some point I
huh.
was like, okay, so because Jenga and Spiel are so close to each other based on the games like so, and Spiel has even bigger list of games usually by September maybe they have enough games on that list. So that's why I'm like, okay,
Well, we can do it later. That's fine.
we're gonna do Spiel instead, because otherwise, if we do Jenkan and Spiel, it's gonna be the same list.
We talk about the same games. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get back
Very
to that.
well.
We still have a few topics in August, and then probably in September we're gonna get to Spiel episode as well.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. Thank you for watching.
All right. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Hopefully soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
This time, I promise. I'll be there. I'll be there for you.
Is that a promise or a threat?
You always ask that.
I do.